Remember when study sessions used to feel physically painful when you try to start? You remember? I was in that position before too. However, when I learned about the methods that I outlined in this video, I was able to decrease the resistance every time I started a study session. And I was able to focus for hours at a time. You know what I'm talking about. It's the kinds of study sessions where you don't even realize that time is flying. You know that feeling, right? Hi, I'm Aku, and I'm studying AI in one of the best universities in the world. And let's get straight into this video. First, I want to talk about the most important concept in life, maybe progressive overload. What does that mean? I know some of you might recognize this as a gym term, but basically, what this means is that if you want to start something, start small, and then you increase it over time. That will not only let your brain get used to it, but it will allow you to do a high amount of work or a high quantity of work without feeling dragness because you're slowly getting used to it. And you do this no matter how smart you are, how skilled you are at the subject. You progressively overload every single time. Let's say if your skill level has decreased or you feel lethargic and you feel that you weren't as good as you used to be, that is a clear symptom of you having to progressively overload. And it hits your ego. But you should have the mindset where you should say, okay, no matter if I'm progressively overloading or not, my skill level is the same. I'm still that strong person who is strong at this particular subject. Or like if you want to apply to anything in life, I'm still fit. I'm still this. I'm still that. It's just that I slowly need to get back into it. I'm just rusty. So keep saying that in your mind. And let's say you want to study for 5 hours today, and you genuinely have not been studying for 5 minutes in the last few days. Start with 30 minutes, or even start with 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Screw your 5 hours, man. Progressively overload. After a week, you will get there. You will get to the amount of time that you want to be studying. So that's progressive overload. Next, I want to talk about organization. If you're organized, you know exactly where everything is. And I want to go more in depth about organization because a lot of people think that is something that, like people with OCD do or something. But I don't mean organization in the sense that everything needs to be extremely uh, clean and clear, which is a good thing and it will help you. But I used to be like quite a disorganized person, and I always thought that no, what's the point of me being organized if I know where everything is? But it's only after I started to be more organized that I realized that it makes it so much easier to know where everything is. Like it's not about the fact that you know where everything is. It's more of like the fact that you don't need to, like, it's one less thing to think about now because everything is in its place and you don't even need to think about where your calculator is, for example, or things like that. It's maybe even a feeling that I can't explain in a video. You just need to try being organized as an unorganized person, and you will feel the difference. Especially if you have like you have like a computer at your table and you have like your keyboard and your mouse and your monitor like neatly placed, and there's like no cables, and then all your study materials are like kept nicely. It will make it look very aesthetic, which will please your brain, and that will actually help you to start studying in your next study session, more easily, because you're just happy now. Like everything looks nice. It's like, come, let's start, man. Like it's very aesthetic. Like I mean this purely in like a, like it's a funny point to add in this video, but genuinely you feel more attracted to start a study session. Next, very important point: be specific about what you're gonna do. You remember in the earlier part of the video, I said, okay, I'm gonna study for 5 hours, but then how do you get to that point? Another way to get to that point is to be specific about what you want to do. What are you going to accomplish in your study session? be extremely specific. So don't just study chemistry. You should say, I'm going to do question 1 and 2 from chemistry worksheet 2 that I got on Monday. And I'm going to do that on Tuesday. That is how specific you should be. And not only being specific clarifies on what you need to do, and there's no time of thinking about, okay, I'm going to study chemistry. What should I do? There's so many topics. Not only it clears that whole haze, but every time you learn something, you know where it came from, and you can recognize like the concept of, like, you can recognize the question where the concept came from. So when you do your exam paper and you see a question that's very similar to question 1 and 2 from chemistry worksheet 2, you'll be like, oh, I did this from question 1 and 2 from chemistry worksheet 2 that I intentionally did on Tuesday because I planned for it specifically. Wow, I know how to do this question. And then you do it in the exam paper. You could have probably still solved the exam question even if you weren't specific. But you not only you maximize the efficiency and the effectiveness of your study session, but being able to recognize questions gives you gives you confidence in the exam that you know it to the detail. Because if you didn't recognize it from question 1 and 2 from chemistry worksheet 2, right, for example, you might be a bit stuck because you know how to do the question, but it's like you forgot whether it's like this way or that way. But if you can recognize the exact question, you will know that after it's it's like having it's like how if I give you an analogy right now, it's like how a plane uh, lands. You know, there's like in the runway, there's like strips, and then the plane lands, right? The pilot could probably land the plane if there were no landing strips, because you could probably see the road from like the ambient light and be like, okay, okay, I just land here. But when you have the landing strips, it's so much easier. And the same goes for this. If you're being specific about the tasks that you do throughout the year, that you recognize it in the exam paper and you would just do it in a period of time that is so much faster than your friends. And it's not hard to be specific. And this also saves your time in the long run. Next, this is actually something that I have in one of the modules in my course. You should plan for something fun after the study session, or maybe after, or maybe in a period of time later in the day. Why should you plan for something fun? You might think that, okay, it's because there's something to look forward to, so I'll enjoy the study session more. But no, it's not only that. When you plan for something fun after the study session, it forces you to meet this deadline of, oh no, at 5 p.m. I'm gonna go out. This is this is gonna be a fun event, so I'm quite excited. But that means I need to finish everything by 5 p.m. If not, I can't go for this extremely fun thing. And that will force you to be more efficient and more effective. And this is how I actually am still able to like go out during exam period, because by being more efficient and effective, I'm able to go for these kind of fun stuff because I've already completed all my work because of my increased efficiency and effectiveness, and of course the other study methods that I have that allows me to do so. When you plan for something fun after the study session, your study session will be so much more fun. It, yeah, fun and more effective. The mistake that students do is that they go for something fun, like going out with their friends, and then they mix studying with it. You might think that, no, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's completely harmless. Well, it might seem harmless, but your study, first of all, the effectiveness of your study session has decreased, because let's be honest, it's very hard to focus when you're around like friends that you like to talk to and things like stuff like that. If you're around people that you don't like and you're just using them for like because they're smart, then yeah, you can hang out with them and study. But you should have like this distinction between the two events. I'm not saying you can't have fun because I certainly don't stop it even during exam season, which is a period where people stop going out. But plan for something fun after the study session. That will every single time I did it, not only for studying but for other work related activities. I've always been so much more efficient. Like it's just a hack, man. Like it just works. Because if I know that okay at 12 p.m. I want to eat lunch with my friends and it's 10 o'clock right now, I better be done with all my work in the next 2 hours. Because I want to. Then there's no form of stress. It's not like stress in a bad way. It's more of like, oh I need to get this done. If not, I can't make it. Man, it's really fun, so I want to make it. And going out with your friends and going out is like a good thing for your brain. It like regulates you and shit. So it's a good thing. So it's not like going out to take drugs. Okay, that was an irrelevant point, but plan for something fun after the study session. Next, I really talked about how we can make our study session more efficient and effective. But sometimes it feels like we don't have the energy to even do anything. Right? So how do you have enough energy for the study session that you want to? Two methods. Not two methods, but two things in these are two very easy things to do that will make all the difference. First is called a concept of eating the frog. You might have heard about it. It basically means you do the hardest thing first thing in the morning, the moment you wake up, which is where you have the highest energy, which is something that requires discipline to do. But it's quite easy if you just plan it in Google Calendar and you just know that that's your plan for the next day. And like I said, after you do the hardest task in the day, you have the rest of the day to enjoy yourself, go out with your friends and do all that fun stuff. But if you procrastinate, which you won't if you follow the methods I outlined in this video, it, it just you will just not be done with the task and you have less energy to do the actual studying and you have less time to enjoy with your friends. Yeah, which is sad, man. So this is how you beat procrastination. It's by doing it first thing in the morning with the methods that I outlined in the video. And you will realize you'll be done with all your tasks like pretty early in the day as compared to what you've been used to. You'll be done with like that really hard task by like 11:30 a.m. or 12 p.m. And you'll be like, damn, I still have like the rest of the day. And that is such a rewarding feeling. Not only because you didn't procrastinate, but you literally have like 6, 7 hours that you can enjoy with your friends or you can do whatever you like. And that's powerful because trust me, like it feels so like you go out and your friends are still studying, but you've done all your work and they probably procrastinated for like 3, 4 hours. Then they started and like did only half their work. Then that's how their day ends. That is how you're gonna be ahead of most students, while still being able to go out. To be fair, there's some students that are really good at managing their time, and you know to be better than them, you might have to optimize these methods more. But if you just want an A, if you don't really want to be the best, eat the frog. And the second part of this method is to drink black coffee. Not only drink, but to chug. Like yeah, I'm sure you know what chugging is. Chug black coffee first thing in the morning before you do the task. I'll be honest, I did not chug my black coffee today because I just wanted to like execute this and like finish of course this video. But why do I say black coffee? It's because first of all there's no sugar, there's no milk. And I'm not saying you can't have sugar or you can't drink milk, but it's like these things will like slow you down in the first part of your day. So chug black coffee and then you just start with the most difficult task of the day. If you find it disgusting to chug black coffee, get used to it. It will help you a lot. And it's a small price to pay for the fact that you can enjoy the rest of the day with your friends without feeling guilty. Because your study session has been the most efficient and effective that it could possibly be in the day. And if you still fail your exam, it's fine. Because honestly you did your best. But you won't fail. Because you were specific, you progressively overloaded, you were organized, and you had enough energy to understand the links between each concept in an exam paper, and you had enough energy to execute all of this, there's literally zero chance you fail. So just to recap, the most important things: progressively overload your studying, be specific, have an organized workspace, and wake up at first thing in the morning and you start after you chug black coffee. If you feel uncomfortable chugging black coffee, which I feel that is not you, but then you can just like sip big gulps of it. And while doing that, you plan for something fun at the end of the day or at the end of your study session, which might be in the afternoon. And this will force you to be more efficient and effective. Yeah, that will be it for this video. But really, like planning for something fun at the end of the study session is one of the most underrated study hacks because every time I did it, it just felt so like my brain would just be like optimizing for like how do we efficiently like how do we be more efficient, and there's like no stress at all because it's like you're doing something fun after this. Like your brain is not thinking in terms of stress; you're just thinking in terms of like, okay, let's do it so that we can have fun. Really underrated tactic. I really implore you to use this. Plan for something fun after the study session. Cheers.